In this video, I'll be showing you how to make the new Entwine bracelet using the Monster Tail loom. So I will show you what it looks like. On the one side, it has an inverted fishtail look that is sort of nestled inside of these side bands. And then on the flip side, it has circles that run the length of the bracelet, which I alternated the colors. So you will need to choose your colors, and I've chosen black for the outside, and then I have teal, white, and orange for the other three colors, and these are the Rainbow Loom brand rubber bands. So I'm going to start with my outside color, which is black, and it's going to go from the bottom pin on the right up to that center pin, and it is going to twist. And now from the center pin, it's going up to the next pin and twist. Going to push that down. And now I'm going to do a second layer of black. So it's going to again start on the bottom right, go up to the middle pin, and then from here it's going up to the next pin above. And now I want to remove the bottom layer, but since I only have 2 bands on the sides, I'm not going to do anything with that for right now. So in the center I have 4 rubber bands. I'm going to take the bottom 2 and I'm going to get them both on my hook at once. They're going to go up and over to the middle and release. I'm going to push this down. And now I'm going to start my color pattern. So I'll start with teal. And this band is going to go from the first pin on the right, it's going to skip over the second pin and stretch up to the third pin. And I want it to go on the left hand side, so I'm putting it on that first one, going around the left hand side, skipping that middle and going to the pin above. And now I'm going to put on my next layer, which is going to be all black. So I'm starting on the bottom and it's going to the middle. And then from the middle, it's going up to the top. And so now what I want to do is I want to get this teal band to come up through this black band and go to the pin in the middle on the left-hand side. So I'm taking this teal band, I'm going to go down inside of this black band on the top. I'm just going to grab the teal, I'm going to pull it up through, and it's going to this center pin on the left. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side here. I'm just going down inside of this black band, grabbing this teal. Make sure you're just getting the color, and it's going over to the left in the center. So you can see now that this band has hooked into these bands. Going to push this down, and now on the right hand side here you can see I have 3 rubber bands on the 2 end pins, and then I have 4 rubber bands on the center. So on this side what I want to happen is I want the bottom black band to come up through the middle and then over the top. It's going to be an inverted loop. Let me get this a little bit closer here. So I'm taking my hook and I'm going to grab this middle band. I'm going to turn my hook around, so now it's behind my hook. That allows me to grab the bottom band to come up through and then over the top. On the center here, I'm just going to grab the bottom 2 bands and just pull them right over the top. And then on the end here, again, I have 3 rubber bands. I want the bottom to come up through the middle and then go over the top. So I'm going to grab this middle band on my hook, I'll turn it around, so now it's on the back side of my hook, stretch that out, I can grab the bottom, it can come over the top and into the middle. And so now I want to add a circle, which is going to show on the one side of the bracelet. So again, I'm going to use teal, and I'm just going to go right in the center pin, and I want it to be doubled. So in order to do that, I'm just going to place the band on that pin. I'm going to twist, and I'm just going to place the circle that's in my fingers right back on that pin. And now I need to do the band that is going to stretch from the first to the third pin. So I'm going to do my next color, which is white. Again, I want it to go on the left hand side. So I'm hooking it to that first pin. I'm going around the middle and it's going up to the top. And now finally I want to add the black rubber bands. So it's going from the first to the second, and then from the second to the third. So the first thing I'm going to do is get this white band and move the two ends over to the left here. So I'm just going down inside of this black band, picking up the white. It's just going to come off and move over to the left. And now the same thing for the other side. I'm just going to reach inside this top black band, and now the white band will come up through and over to the left. You can see how that's hooking the black bands now. And I'm not doing anything on the left side here until I have 3 sets of bands on. So now on the right side, what I want to happen is on the end pins, I want to do the inverted stitch where the bottom band comes up through the middle and over the top. Do that for the ends. And then also for the center, I want to do that same thing. I'm reaching down through this circle band and the bottom is coming up through the circle. So I'm going to start on the bottom pin here. I'm grabbing this middle band with my hook. I'm pulling it out and then I will turn my hook around. So that allows me to now grab the bottom band. It's going to come up through and over. In the center here, I want the teal bands to go behind my hook. So I'm just going to grab them and now turn my hook around so I can grab the bottom 2 black bands. They're going to come up and over the top. Just make sure that these upper bands don't come off as you're doing that. And then I also want to get the teal bands to go over as well. So I'm grabbing both of them and pulling them over. And then on the end here, I'm going to grab this middle band. Now I'm going to turn my hook around. Now I can grab the bottom band. It can come up through and over. Going to push all of this down. And now I'm going to add my next layer. Now I'm only going to do this circle band for every other layer. So for this time I'm not doing a circle on the right. And so I'm going to do my next color, which is orange, which is going to wind up over here on the left. So I'm taking it from the first pin, skipping the second, and going up to the third. Again, making sure you're going around the left-hand side of the pin. And now I'm going to place my 2 black bands on. And now I want that orange band to come up through the black and over to the left. So I'm just going to reach down through, grab the orange and move it over to the left. And the same thing on this one, I'm going inside of that top black band, grabbing the orange and moving it over to the left. Push that down. And now I want to do the hooking on the right side here. So again, on the ends, I'm always doing the inverted looping. So I'm going to grab this middle band, then turn my hook around, grabbing the bottom. It's coming up through and over. Now in the center here, the bottom 2 are just going over the top 2. It's the only time we're not using the inverted stitch, when we're on the in-between layer where there's no circle. And then finally at the top here, I'm grabbing this middle band and I'm getting the bottom one to come up through and over. And now on the left hand side, you can see that we do have 3 sets of bands. So I want the bottom set, which is teal, to come up through the white and then over the orange. So I'm just going to grab the 2 white bands and get them to go behind my hook. Now I'm grabbing the teal and that's coming up and over and push down. Now on this next layer is where we want to add the circle band or cap band in the middle on the right. And last time I showed you how to double it using your fingers. So this time I'll show you how you can do it on your hook. I'm taking my next circle color, which is white since I did teal for the last one. You can just place the band on your hook, twist, and put it back on. So you'll see 2 rubber bands, and then you can just place that on. So there's a lot of different ways that you can double a band. Now I need to add my next color that's going to show up on the left. And since I did orange last, I'm going to be back to teal. So that's going from that first pin up to the third, skipping the middle. And now I need the black rubber bands to go on top. I always need to add the black before I do the looping. And so I'm getting these teal bands to move over to the left. So I'm just going down inside the black and grabbing the teal. It's going over to the left. And now the same thing on the other side. Push that down. And now I'll do the looping on the right. So again, I want the center band here. I'm going to grab that on my hook, pull it out, and now the bottom band can come up through and over. On the center, I want the 2 bottom black bands to come up through the circle bands. So I'm going to grab them, turn my hook around. Now I can get the 2 black to come up through and over. Again, just make sure these upper bands stay on. And now also I want these 2 white bands to come off. And finally at the top here, grabbing that middle band, pulling it out, bottom can come up through and over. On the left hand side, from now on, we're always going to have to loop as well. So I want the bottom 2 white bands to come up through the orange and over top of the teal. So I'm just going to grab these 2 orange bands. Now the white can come up through and over. Just make sure also that these are staying in the same order on the pin and push down. So now on this next layer, I'm not doing the circle on the right. So I'm going right to my color that's going to go on the left, so I'm going to do white, skipping that middle pin, and now I'm putting on the black layer. Remember, you always need a black layer before you loop. And so now I'm getting the white bands to come up through the black and over to the left. Doing that for both sides. And now on the right here, doing the inverted stitch for the ends. And in the middle here, we're just going right over the top with the 2 black. It's the only time we don't do an inverted stitch. And then at the top here, bottom's coming up through and over. On the left hand side, I need to grab the 2 teal bands. Now I can pick up the orange to come up through and over the top and push down. I know that there are a lot of steps to follow here, and it can get confusing. You just want to remember that we're only doing the circle band for every other layer on the right here, and if you're ever confused as to whether or not it's time to add the circle, you can just look at the previous one. So you can see right now with this white circle that there's black bands over top of it, so we know it's time to add the circle. And I'll show you after I do this next one how you can see that the circle's on top. So this time, as I said, it is time to add another circle, and since white was the last circle on the right, we're going to be doing orange. So I'm just doubling this band. Again, I'm just going to use my fingers here. And now I need the band that's going to move over to the left. So looking at my colors here, I can see that I'm on to orange for that as well. So I'm going from this first pin up to the third. And now I always need to add that black layer before I do any looping. And so the orange is going to come up through and go over to the left. And now on the right hand side, everything's going to be inverted. On the middle here, I'm grabbing the two orange bands. Now the blacks are coming up through, and now the oranges will come off as well. And then at the very top here, again, it's inverted, so bottom's coming up and over. On the right side, I need to get these white bands on my hook. Now I can pull the teal up through and over. So now you can see on the right how the circle bands are on top, so I'll know that my next layer will not have a circle band on it. So I am just going to continue in the same pattern, and when the bracelet gets long enough, I will show you how to remove it from the loom. When you have your bracelet to the length that you'd like it and you're ready to take it off of the loom, you're going to start on the left hand side. You should have 2 sets of rubber bands. So I'm going to take my hook and go down through the top 2 rubber bands. Get them behind my hook. I'm going to grab the bottom 2, pull them up through, and move that over to the middle pin on the right. I can release the ones on the left now since they'll be hooked. And now I'll take the 2 rubber bands that are on the bottom pin that's closest to me, get them both on my hook, and I'll move them up to the center pin. And now I'll take the other 2 bands that are on the top pin and I will move them down. So this pin's pretty full now. I'm going to take the bottom 2 black bands and pull them over the top. And now what I'm going to do is get these orange bands to come up through the black. So I'm going to just reach my hook down through, push back on these top 4 black bands, grab hold of these 2 orange bands, and now I can pull the rest of this off of the loom. And I'm going to take a clip. I have an S-clip here. You can use whatever clip you have available. I'm going to just hook those 2 orange bands through. And then on the other side here, I'm just going to pick up a couple of the loose bands on the end here. And I will hook this through the other side of the clip. And then here is my bracelet. So you can see on the one side it has all of the circles that change colors. And then on the reverse side here is this inverted fishtail look. And what you can do is, they might look a little bit skinny, so what I like to do is just sort of open this up a little bit and make them flatter. And you can play around with it to get it to look how you want it to. If there's spaces in between where you can see the black, you can just move the bands until they're covered up. And then here is the other one that I had shown you at the beginning, where I used the pink, white, purple, and blue. I hope that everyone enjoyed making the new Entwine bracelet. You can always leave me comments on YouTube and Facebook, post pictures of your creations to my Facebook page, and please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all of my latest tutorials. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram, so please feel free to subscribe to those as well. Thanks for watching!